What is up, everybody? Marshmello here, and for the first time ever, I'm going to sit down and tell you guys how I make some songs. Today's song is going to be Just Can't Stop. We have the remix competition out, and this is the first song on my EP called The Roots, which was, if you haven't heard it, kind of like a throwback kind of, but just kind of my new take on trap and working on my sound and developing my sound and stuff, and I'm really happy with how it came out, and it's been getting good feedback, so I appreciate everybody who's listened to it and gave feedback. Yeah, and if you haven't, go check it out. It's everywhere, Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever you use. But yeah, so, I feel like people have always, had mixed reviews about my production as far as mostly everything has been really good as far as the reaction to this EP and stuff, but, obviously there's people that say, oh, you don't make your own music, oh, you don't do this, you don't do that, which I get because it's been kind of a wild ride, but yeah, I just want to start doing more of these videos. So today we are going to go over how I made my song Just Can't Stop. So I'm going to walk you guys through it like chronologically, as far as like intro and then, the pre-intro, then intro, then bridge or whatever, build and drop and stuff like that. I'll go through drums and sample selection and how important it is, and I'm not gonna obviously hide anything from you guys either. So I'll tell you all my plugins. I'll tell you everything. Share my sauce, if that's what you want to call it. So I knew with this song, I knew it'd be the first song on the EP because I originally started it from like this point. So this song originally started like that, but because it was an intro song, like I knew I wanted to do something maybe a little bit more dramatic, so I just kind of took some sounds here, some sweeps, and a reverse of the first sound you hear in the song, which is this kind of a bass synth right here. It's from a sample. The Man Like You pack is really, really awesome. I use it a lot. It's a lot of like granular synthesis, a lot of good chord ideas and stuff within the samples, but this one was just one solid note, so I just kind of wrote this little synth line, bass line that the whole song is really centered around, and it sounds like this, and it's playing off of this sample right here, and yeah, it sounds really good because it's really long. When you want to use a sample as like a main synth, there are tricks to make a shorter sample longer, but this way it's just the sample was long enough, so I just kind of was able to use it. Then I layered it with some analog. I'm not sure which exact analog synth. It might have been the Super 6, which you guys can't see, but I have here right next to me, and it's just kind of a little just very simple bass, but I like using analog sometimes because it's just true to the synth, you know what I mean, the capabilities of the synth. It's not like these VSTs where you can make a super saw out of a water droplet or something, so I just like to always kind of add maybe some analog in here and there, but the intro is fairly simple. I have this bass, I have this synth, which is sample bass synth, and some claps right here that I layered up. Fairly simple right here. Just two random claps I found. Nothing, I always kind of produce a little bit like on the more simple side, just because I just like the sound of it. And yeah, so I also have this as a layer here from Omnisphere. And yeah, so that has like a really good room and good delay and stuff like that. It's actually from a pack right here called these Sonic extension packs, Seismic Shock, Unclean Machine, and Undercurrent, are some of the best kind of like pre-made sounds. And and you could do a lot. There's 5 different versions of that, and you can do all these things to change it up. And obviously you can do a lot of post-processing. But yeah, so this is kind of like, I've been thinking about my melodies a little differently. Obviously, this is kind of a little darker when paired with the chords right here. So this was kind of like my attempt at, this was the beginning of the whole project, The Roots, but this is kind of, by no means is this melody like iconic or legendary or whatever, but it was just me trying to understand, you know, because Marshmello melodies are, you know, my melodies have always been intentionally very like catchy and very, you know, they almost sound like major key. They just sound like happy, you know? So it was time to kind of switch it up a little bit. And yeah, so this is basically the whole intro here. Obviously, my favorite thing to do is find the most random sounds, or just something to add, like, what is that, or change the dynamic of a part of a song or something. And I found these, like, breaths. And so I was like, all right, it kind of adds, like, a nice little, like... And they're very stereo as well. So, you know, there's kind of the whole spread of the song is covered within this intro. And then I also found these vocals right here. And, you know, I was just messing around. I didn't really have any ideas what I wanted the song to say, but I found this and I just said, you know, fuck it. We'll just, you know, use this sample. I don't even know where the sample's from. But anyways, yeah, so that's this. And then it leads into some dynamic risers right here. You know, risers are also very important. Yeah, so it rises up into this next section. All right, so yeah, so then it comes into the very lit hype pre-build, build, whatever you guys want to call it, bridge sometimes. Yeah, so I basically just looped that same, you know, looped the same vocal. And then I just did this thing right here where I just chopped the, let me unfreeze all this. So I just chopped the vocals here. Then added Fresh Air, amazing plugin, truly, truly, truly. It's wizardry. I think it has to do with something with like saturating the frequencies of whatever. But anyways, yeah, you got like your mid-range right here and your high range. Show you guys what it does for those of you not aware. So here's this. So it makes things really bright. You know, Slate. I'm friends with Steven Slate, who runs the company, and they have amazing stuff. Genius guys over there. And it just wasn't really bright enough. So if you need to make anything brighter, use Fresh Air. It'll change your life. All right, so that's the vocal part right there, and we got these bad boys right here. All right, so this actually came from that same pack that I told you guys about. I'll open it right now for you. It is right here, and the Sonic extensions, Seismic Shock. It's somewhere in here. If I don't find it in the next few turns, I'll just show you guys. Let's see. Let's turn on this. Whoops. Here. Let's see. That might be here. Let me turn on my MIDI right here. So it's from one of these somewhere. So it's right here, Beaten Bloody Pulp. So I don't know why I deleted the original, like VST. I just froze it, I guess, into whatever. So, but you know, with some post compression, this is a really good chain. Dank Sauce is also awesome. You go check his stuff out. But this is just like a multi-band compressor, basically, a few times. Kind of like OTT, but like I much more prefer it than OTT. It's just awesome, and you have like the time, and you also have the OTT comp down there. But everybody go search this up. Just comp OTT. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, here's like Crystalline is also an amazing plugin. Baby Audio is the best, so go check out Baby Audio. Yeah, I just kind of made it's a default, but I did some things to it. the start and stuff like that. Dry wet. Simple stuff, just to give it some room, and sounds like this. You know, your reverb, this reverb's a little bit springy, so it's like kind of a little bit harsher, but that's kind of the vibe I wanted for this track. It's really important when you're working on a track to have some dynamics as far as what's really reverb, what's really dry. You know, taking it all the way back, my song Alone, my favorite thing that I always, you know, wanted for myself and my productions in the beginning was, you know, dynamic. So the bass in that song is very, very dry, but the lead, the dun 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 dun, like that's has a, the serum reverb is also really awesome for this as a very small room reverb, which I was always obsessed with. You know, Jack, you also used it with the Where Are You Now? It just comes to mind. I love doing that. So yeah, you know, it's really good to have some dynamics in the reverbs in your song. So that's pretty much this whole section right here, and some claps, the same claps from before, you know, just keeping it kosher. Same claps in the intro, same claps there, same claps throughout the whole song. So yeah, this part, lost it. Let me turn this off. Okay, yeah, so. So yeah, and going into this build up here, like obviously you can see the physically see the difference of what's going on here versus this. I obviously froze this and flattened it, but it goes from this into, I'll just play it for you. Alright, so just a lot of delays and going left and right panning. Yeah, so that's going on, and it's really nice. You can hear them bouncing around like. So that's great. Obviously kept these bad bitches going right here. And then we get to the fun, adding a little bit of flavor to your synths and stuff like that. You know, it's really important. The best way is to have the least amount of layers as possible, right? Because it'll be a cleaner, you know, essentially a cleaner sound. You know, you have less to work with, less to worry about cutting frequencies and balancing and maybe compressing them together, right? Which I'm not like a super huge fan of. I'd rather just like find, like up here, I found one sound, tweaked it a little bit, and that was it. But I have these things from a plugin called Rave Generator, which is awesome. They have a lot of, like, I'll play some stuff for you guys. A lot of the old school, I think I read somewhere it actually comes exactly from a synth or some really popular sample pack from like the 90s or something, early 2000s. But yeah, so you can hear it's kind of, you know, a little bit old school. So then here's this. Very classic sounds, right? Anyways, so did this. And you could tell in that one, this one right here. You know, I'm not too good at musical theory, but there's probably like a fourth, fifth, or seventh or something in there that's like giving this classic sound that also, when you play it along with this, right, it goes from just a normal sound like this. Sorry. It goes from this to the layer. It adds like, kind of wonky, kind of like ratchet. That old school shit. Which I really love. And then another good thing to do is tease, it's kind of an old school thing, but you know, I did it here, is tease your lead line that's coming in the drop in the build up. You know, so it just doesn't come out of nowhere. So I sneak this little guy in. Very OG trap sounding with those vocals. Anyways, like vocal chops. Yeah, but I sneak this in the build up just to let the listener know kind of what's coming up next. So. And then we go into the drop. This build specifically, you know, I told myself I would get around to just changing it, you know, maybe finding my own samples and stuff, but Green Room sample packs are the shit. And yeah, definitely check them out. But this whole synth line, it just sounded so good. I got too married to it to want to change it, you know. So it has like chants and trap snares and a big snare with white noise, stuff like that. So a lot of good stuff. You know, I wanted to make this song quick when I first started it, and so I just got that in there and left it in there because fuck it, that's what I do. And I made this off of, this is just like, this kind of goes back, this little section right here goes back to what I was saying about adding random sounds to just, you know, no matter how wacky or wonky or silly they may sound, or maybe you're like, oh, it's not even important to, you know, the melody or whatever, but, you know, I always find it like a challenge in the build-ups to do as much cool stuff as possible, even if it's random stuff. So I found this random, I don't even know what this is. It's frozen, so I made it from, you know, I don't even know where it went, but anyways, this is the sound. And that's just in the background real low here. You can hear it in between things like right here. You know, it's just like space filler. It's not integral to the song, but like I said, that's just like what I do. I think it's fun. All right, let's get to the drop. So we obviously got these vocals. I'll go from like top down through drums, through everything. So we'll start here at the vocals because I like to put my vocals at the top of my sessions. I made like a little rhythm. Dun, 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 right, so. And, you know, I wish I hadn't frozen this track so I could show you guys. A lot of delay going on in there. You can obviously hear it bouncing back and forth. It just kind of sounds hectic, and that's what I wanted. Yeah, so really happy with how that turned out here. All right, so this is some crazy sauce right here. I'm going to put you guys on. Basically, you can search up, there's a bunch of websites, but you can find websites that kind of look through YouTube, automatic subtitles. And you type in what you want to hear, and you go to the video, and, you know, you can search through the subtitles, whatever, click the subtitle, you know, audio record it in your Chrome or Safari, whatever you use. For some reason, there was this break right here. I'll mute this so I can show you guys. So originally, obviously, there's this break right here, and it was like this. Right, but I was like, I just kept hearing like, but you can't do it like, kind of like a call and response, like, but you can't do it like, da-na-na-na-na-na. You know what I mean? Because it's like doing this melody right here. And I do the exact same melody, but in this synth that I made in Serum. So it sounds like this. And this feels good right here. I first used it in my song Find Me, and it was like the staple intro to my sets for like 3 years straight. And I just like using it almost like a hip-hop tag. Like, I have my Mellow Made It Right that Roddy Ricch recorded for me, and I use it on every single thing. You know, Juice WRLD recorded one for me too, and, you know, I thought of the phrase Mellow Made It Right, and I would just get my homies, you know, rapper homies, whoever, to just say it, especially if they were on the song. Like the Roddy Mellow Made It Right was from my song Project Dreams with him. But this one, it feels good right here. Some Vengeance sample. And if you hear any of my collabs or anything, like, there's 2 tags, and I'll show you. This is the tag right here. This feels good right here. I love it. Like I said, I froze it. I threw some like chorus and maybe some OTT or something on it to brighten it up a little bit. Maybe even fresh air, you know, like the first vocal I showed you guys. Anyways, yeah, so that's pretty much the only vocal elements of the drop part. And I think it's like so fun because they're just like little breaks in the songs, you know, like little breaks in the beat where, you know, like it signifies that it's going to change. So right here, it changes to one synth. And then and then this signifies a new synth. So that's pretty fun. yeah, let's go through drums, and then I'll also show you how I made the synths. I'm hoping that I didn't freeze and flatten them. I should get better at that, especially if I want to keep doing these videos. But yeah, I'll just show you. I don't need to unfreeze anything. I'll just unfreeze them all. Screw it. All right, so here are the drums right here. All right, so big clicky kick. Love this right here, guys. Seriously, like, it might be like a placebo, but I don't think so. Just, boosting frequencies through this Pultec. And there's, I've seen on TikTok and stuff, there's free versions that aren't Pultec, but basically the exact same thing. I really like using these sometimes. Like, if I don't want to sit around and mess with the EQ, like the graphic EQs and stuff, like something about this, I don't know. Just the frequencies it picks for, the Q, the range of the frequencies per frequency, right? So I have this at 100. And I have it boosted a little bit here. Attenuation is the opposite of boosting. At least that's what I think. That's what happens when I do it. So I just boosted the bass a little bit. I assume you can get the same result from doing a graphic EQ, but I don't know, man. I just like using this. So yeah, just have that on the kick. I'll show you like before and after. It's minimal, but it does make a difference for sure. So here's the kick right here. And then with it on. Hear that? Thin, and then here. A little bit more rumble, and it's just so clean. Like, something about the Pultec stuff, I love it. So next we got, I'm a big layer guy. So when it comes to leads and drums and stuff, but like I said, it's always better if you can find a sound you're happy with where you don't need layers. Just a little bit cleaner, but if you don't mind getting into the nitty gritty stuff, which some days I feel like it and I love it, and some days I'm like absolutely not. I can't imagine sitting around working on a snare for the rest of the day. I'm just gonna find a snare that I like. I was feeling like this was worth it to kind of put in the work and go sample diving. So we have this, right, with some reverb from Valhalla Room. Very good. So we got that, and one of the layers here has like a little jingle on it, which is great. And then right here we got this little like real trap shit, like offbeat snare. But it goes offbeat right here, as you can see. There's nothing lined up, but I added it as a layer to the snare as well. So it's kind of like really trappy. And altogether, it's just. This should be on. So yeah, so 3 layers there. Not really any EQing. I work with Southside a lot, 808 Mafia, and there's no EQing. Like, there's nothing. So, a lot of people would sit here and say, oh, you got to EQ this into this. And I just like brute forcing this and just slamming everything together. I'm not claiming that I'm some sonic genius because it sounds good. I kind of like it a little bit ratchet, you know what I mean? And anyways, have this little tiny, tinky little hi-hat here. Just very simple. Literally never changing a rhythm from this. It just sounds good. Just because it kind of keeps I'll play the whole thing right here. It kind of keeps it going. Because then without it, it's just a crash. But it definitely hits a frequency, and you can see what I did in this EQ, right? It definitely hits that frequency that none of these share as its predominant frequency, right? So I just cut it all the way up here. It's at 474. So, it's very high up, but, within there, it just sits nice in there and has its own little home amongst all the absolute chaos that is going on. Then we got the crash in the drums. A few things. So you can go and my favorite thing for a crash is having a few layers, but always, like I say, like if you can just find the one sound, just the easier your life will be. I always do open hi-hats, hip-hop open hi-hats, right? So this is, right, the open hi-hat. I have it pitched down a little bit right here, as you can see. And it has there's even room, right? There's even room within the sample. You know what I mean? Again, we got green room right here. This is so so this is a snare. All right, so let me change this. So right, and then I just took right, because if you look at crashes, you see right here, this little portion, everything to the left of this little thing right here, is a really slow attack, right? Hi-hats have the like, almost if it started from here, you'll hear the difference right here, like, right? Versus, that's at least right now in like modern trap, the crashes have a very like slow attack. So I took a snare here and kind of mimicked that, right? Just to add a little bit of a different tone. And then last but not least, I don't do this all the time, but I messed around with the operator here and made some white noise. All right, so paired, we got a lot of different things, you know, like operator right here. It's kind of mono, right? Actually, it might be literally mono. Here. Then here, very spread out, right? So you have the whole kind of stereo covered everywhere, middle, sides, and full sides, right? And another thing I've been getting into, didn't do it here, is mid-side EQing. I know it sounds crazy for me to just be getting into that right now, but I've just produced so much differently, and you know, as I get into, you know, the Marshmello career and producing and really diving in, kind of nerding out, I'm just finding new stuff that maybe I missed way back in the day, but this would be a good time to maybe do some mid-side EQing for, you know, the mids and everything of the hi-hats, but I didn't do that here. Here's this seemingly stupid little hi-hat right here. It's on the offbeat, right? So let's turn on the metronome. All right, dun, 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 dun. Right, so with all that, it just kind of adds like a little, whoops, let me turn this on. Right, it like kind of sits like right there, right? So just another little thing that, you know, is interesting. Damn, okay. Well, for some reason I froze and flattened this as well. This is basically a very simple serum thing I made. I can, you know, try to do it real quick. Let's see what we got here. I pretty much just went to basic shapes. Whoops. Right, made maybe a little envelope right here, like this. Put it on here. Here. Right. Then obviously you can go in here and add a lot of. And then you put some OTT on it and stuff like that, or multi-band dynamics, anything. Very simple. A lot of it is in the post-processing. And then there's a lot of stuff you could do with like white noise, obviously, that everybody knows about, right? Then you can go over here, boost that up. Make sure on Serum, this is how you send everything in. So obviously A, we don't need B. B's off, no sub. That's just off the noise here, right? So, right, and you can go. Right, very simple. This sounds very simple. So that's basically how I made that right there. Yeah, so you could tell there's a lot of, I mean, let's even see what it sounds like without the OTT. Here. Right, it's that white noise that I just showed you guys, where you run it through the filter and turn the drive up. It just makes it insane, you know. And I'll even show you that on my sub too. And you guys can copy the sub. I made like a little little sub patch that I've just used throughout this project and will continue to use, probably even in my pop productions when it's appropriate. So yeah, here's this little part right here. This all right, so there's that, and then here I'll just even go to this part right here. This is the second sound that comes in right here. So it goes. And again, I kind of dropped the ball here because I froze and flattened this too. But in my other videos, I'll make sure that, hopefully the versions I have, I'll have the actual patches so I can show you guys. Similar, very, very, very similar to what I did here, with just a simple sine. But obviously you can tell this is, a different wavetable. A lot of weird stuff going on in there, but at the same time, it sounds kind of wild, but it's fairly simple. Just kind of do what I just did there and mess around with wavetables and stuff. The same routing pretty much. So yeah, that's drums and little wobbles here that are through this. And now I'm going to get to the lead, which as you guys can see is quite hectic. A lot of layers. This group's turned off though, so we'll go up here. So yeah, let's start with the lead solo right here. Right, so here's this little Sennheiser sample. Again, no sense, just sample. Alright. Just that high sizzle frequency that completes a sound, If you're not doing any lo-fi or whatever, especially trap, like you're going to want some sizzle, some highs. So there's that, and then this one is pretty wonky. Let's run through this. I'm glad I did not freeze and flatten this, so let's unfreeze this guy. Turn off this. Delete that out of there. Omnisphere. Let me do all this right here. Group this and take this off. Here's the original sound. It's so bad. It's terrible. I can't believe it. So that's the original sound here, and I added all this. Very wonky. It's even phasing. You can hear just because of some of this stuff, but like I said, I'm not sitting around going crazy on sound design or caring about stuff. If it sounds good when it's layered, I'm not going to sit and mess with it because fundamentally, it shouldn't be phasing or whatever. Like, I don't care. It just is what it is. So, Wave Shaper, if you guys, it's pretty up there in price, but if you guys can you can also grab them separately. But I got the whole pack for the Melda, and it comes with here, let's look here. Melda comes with I think 1 million plugins. Here's all of them right here. They're all really cool, for real. Their UI obviously looks like Pilgrims used it, but what they do is actually really sick. So shout out, Sudden Death put me onto that, and I just got obsessed with it. So I got a Wave Shaper on there, so that's gonna be doing this. Adding some juice, right? Some high, some crispiness, clipper, it says, right? So then obviously took out some lows because we got a lot of, the sub I'll show you guys later is covering a lot of ground. So, taking out some of that. I could have even gone there, but who needs that frequency anyways for a lead? Have a crystalline right here. Kind of, same thing, nothing crazy. Right? And crystalline is good for that metallic reverb, you know what I mean? It's really cool, especially in the electronic space. I don't find myself using it too much in pop productions, but I really do like it for a lot of my electronic bass music stuff, So then we got Snap Heap, absolute banger of a plugin, insane. Kilohertz again. Interface looks like it was built by Thomas Edison, but honestly, it slaps. They're so good. They're so good. everything they have. So this is essentially like, it has all of their effects within kilohertz. Obviously modulators. You can go insane if you're a sound design kid. Like, download this and just go insane. Like, you know, I know people can just like run circles around me with all that, but even this, like, I kind of made this phase distortion, right? So I don't know, just made it, threw it on there. Like I said, a lot of me producing is just kind of like, what if I did this? What does this do? Okay, what if I duplicated it for 3 times or something 3 times, and I didn't think it'd do anything, but all of a sudden it does something insane. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the name of the game, especially with producing on the computer. You know, you don't really get that freedom when you're like sitting down with guitars and drums, you know, so you could just have so much fun, especially if you have all the time in the world and you're a bedroom producer like me. I was like sitting in his parents' basement just messing around forever, watching YouTube tutorials, you know. So anyway, Snap Heap is awesome. Download it. A lot of good presets, and I think there probably is some user-made presets floating around Reddit, stuff like that. Anyways, after doing, you know, Crystalline and Snap Heap, I had to take some more distortion, because sometimes these distortions will add a lot of low, and that'll kind of fuck you up, especially when you're like doing a lead, you know. So kind of copy that. You see that? Very similar. So that's the whole lead right here. So all together, right? Cool. And I have this little weird thing. This is the reverb that you hear right here. Right? That tail. I froze it. All right, let me see. Let me see what the whole thing is right here. All right, so here's this. All right? And trash, I just did some random stuff here. And it like chopped it. Or I chopped it, but it was like, you know, glitching out, and it kind of gave me the idea. You can hear right here. It kind of glitches out at the end here. And I'm like, oh, wait, that'd be sick if I chopped it up, right? So I did. It's just kind of filler right here. So it goes. You hear that? But without it, it sounds real. Might sound cleaner, but it just is a nice little thing. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. This is probably the most fucky nonsense I have in the song. I don't know where this came from. I don't know what this is. We could try to find out right here. This is like some weird, like, I don't know. But, you know, I was like, whatever. Just put it in there, like anything to fill, anything interesting that like you can't find as a preset or something like that, you know what I mean? To fill in, just to kind of have it be a little bit unique. It's just playing through the whole thing. Just kind of chaotic, just constantly in the background, absolute chaos. This group does not need to be here. That's everything for the whole drop, and I'm going to show you guys my sub. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, buddy. All right. So, this is the Just Can't Stop bass right here. So essentially, very simple. Nothing here. Simple as key. We got a sub, and we got, wait, actually, this isn't even on. This is just a straight sub right here on the triangle. Or sawtooth. Whatever. Yeah. So, this is what's going on. I like it better than the sign. So the sign's like, it's a tiny bit different, right? It's a tiny bit different. So back to what I told you guys earlier. Get the bright white going, route that into here, and turn that drive all the way up. So you'll see, like, without this, like the filter's doing nothing. It might be rolling off some highs, but without the filter, it's right? Like, what is that? It's horrible. But when you throw the drive in, just clips that out. Listen. Just on a sine wave. It's ridiculous. You know, and you'll see this a lot in like modern, you know, death step, any dubstep, you know, like the heavy dubstep, kind of like, you know, all the melodeath stuff, sudden death. A lot of people. It's kind of like the swag that they use. So yeah, That's that. Very simple, guys. You can literally just, you can make it just over here. You don't need this. You don't need anything. So if you want to screenshot that, copy that, that's literally it. Very simple. All right. That takes us through the drop, really. Let's listen to the end here. Also, one thing I will mention, this is definitely for kind of like the beginners or just really whoever needs to hear it. Second time around, first drop is up an octave. Second drop is right. And through here we add another layer, right? So this is another thing to add here. Another thing I did do is these sounds are womps, right? They're kind of wompy. You see the waveform here. They go up and down. So I could have done the sub, like a true sub, to follow this, right? Like a womp, 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 womp. But it just felt so nice leaving this long, drawn-out sub through these moments, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's just constantly filling. So, yeah, I like that a lot. So, on to second build right here, or second, you know, not verse, but second part of the song. And just to add a little bit more, have this guy right here. And I wanted to find some random effect to throw on it. So humanoid, again, Baby Audio, shout out Baby Audio. This is like a vocoder, like a fake vocoder, but it is kind of like a real vocoder as well. Really good. And just randomly added it because this sounds kind of wacky, and I was like, all right, let's do it. It actually sounds bad, but that's, I don't know why I'm freezing that. I don't need that. Yeah, whatever. Just left it in because you can hear it in the background of this. Just filling in that space. Doesn't really matter what it is. Truly, start dragging random shit in there and just be like, oh, okay, this sounds cool. I'm going to do it. Same stuff as first, right? So we have the rave generator right here. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Rave generator right there. Got the basses right here. Same thing in the vocals. And now time for the second drop. So I did the second drop a long time after I started this song. And again, try to find a sound. Like, I know you can, you know, obviously sitting around and learning how sounds work and sound design, like, really helps a lot, you know? And I know my way pretty well. But for this instant, you know, I was looking through presets and same pack. Same pack. Obviously, I did, you know, some wave shaper stuff to it after, but yeah, this Omnisphere. What we got? Come on. We got the big nuke button from Seismic Shock, right? So just the first thing. Maybe turned up the sustain a little bit, you know. And that's this sound right here. This banging, just huge, like. Right. So, whoa, 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 whoa. Sounds really cool right here. So yeah, this part I'm really, really, really happy with. This is kind of like an ode to the old trap with the sirens, like Flosstradamus and Uzi, and who else would have done that back then? I mean, you got Luke. Any of the trap guys are just right. Alvin Risk would always have like these crazy lasers as well. So yeah, let's go over this part right here. So, right, sub from here. So it's like there's some continuancy, right? A little bit different, not as harsh. Big crush, right? We got this guy right here. A lot of bass in there. I should have cut that out. I don't know why I didn't. Let's look into what's happening with this sound here. Probably fairly simple. Yeah, so this is just you know, bunch of stuff, random stuff on the this came as a preset, but I added some stuff to it. I kind of left all this alone. You know, this is really nice. Let's just hear it. Right, so pretty wild, right? What this will do. Obviously, it's one of the crazier distortion presets on here. Fairly simple though. I got a little pitch thing right here. Let me put it up here. So you just drag that here and set it on your octave, and it's basically telling the pitch to rise and fall just like that. Right, very quick. Anyways, yeah, it's kind of like really old school laser sound, and I loved it. And yeah, so we got that. And then a little sample I found, added. I'll show you guys this too. This is, let me just turn off everything here. So this would be, right. So sick though. This is from Shadow. Viper Active put me onto this. Shadow Pack, the Shadow UK base, all that stuff. They run some ads on Instagram, so you guys have probably seen them. But yeah, so we just got this guy and polysaturator. Oh shit. All right, polysaturator is insane. It finds, you know, the frequencies within sounds, and you can boost them. You obviously have an octave here. This one in the middle, I'm not too sure, but you know, I just mess around with a lot of things, and this is really cool. Add some really sick harmonics. Without it, it's I don't know why that went down. Oh yeah. Right. Just messes with the frequencies and just does whatever. And then we have some serum effects right here. Really fun thing to do with serum effects is put it on anything, and for as many, you know, presets you have, it'll just put those presets effects on your sound. So you could just scroll like, you know, you're scrolling through presets, but it'll just have all the unbiased, right? It'll have all the effects to whatever, and you throw them on. So I guess I was really liking bass wave that day for what it did. Let's see what it did. All right. Oh wait. All right. Has that little ring to it, and then I made it mono here. Yeah. So that's what's going on here. Obviously, that same filler. Nothing really else. And I obviously had to hit him with the classic. Yeah, had to hit him with that tag, and then again, same thing. Right. Same thing. Back to serum. Went through some trap packs. Found this. It's so old school. I love it. It sounds like Brills too. I don't know if you guys remember Brills. I think he's at Let's Dream right now, but yeah, Brills is ultimate. Yeah, so found that. I got some things on there, but again, I did not make this sound either. Just kind of found it. Just like sample searching, just like the presets. Nothing wrong with that. Vintage verb, color now, right? So this is going to be a lot more bright. Just different. Much different than the 1970s. This is kind of the pop standard. A lot of standards. A lot of people call this a standard for a lot of things. So if you don't have this, go check it out. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. So have that on there. All right. This adds a little bit more chaos to the reverb. This thing again right here. OTT multiband. And then we got Soothe, obviously taking away. So what you see down here is the delta. So what's taking away. So this is all the frequencies you're hearing right now are the frequencies it's lowering. Right? So you put it on. So all that is what it's ducking out, right? A lot. Soothe is great for anything. Honestly, you can put it on your master too. You can do a lot of things with it. Then I got lazy and didn't want to sit there with the EQ 8. So I just did the 3 and just cut it down at 250 right here. You set the low right here. Yeah. And you see, it's even like distorting and stuff. Like, you would obviously want to go and fix that, but I just didn't want to. I don't know. It just sounds good right here. Right? It adds some character even, but inherently it is not good. You hear that? It's just like I could probably go in there and fix it because of like the routing chain on Serum or something, and maybe put an EQ before any of this. But if it just sounds good, like I don't know what. Don't worry about like principles too much, to be honest. A lot of producers will tell you that. And then obviously my filler here, just whatever that is going on, just fills it in, and we end it with a kind of an ode to the beginning. And that's the whole song. I will show you guys some cool stuff right here. Everybody go buy Transit and Transit 2. Just dropped. Again, Baby Audio. I don't know what they have in their offices over there. It's just a bunch of Greek gods of music just sitting around making these plugins that are like so useful. So this thing right here, you can see I have the transition control, which is basically this guy right here. It's kind of like Endless Smile, if you guys remember that from Dada Life. Found one, so Gritty Delays, and you can like tweak it. That's the best part about this, is you can find the presets, but you can sit and look at this. You have everything, right? High pass, low pass, band pass, notch, chorus, and you can sit here and select everything. They're so visual, and for somebody like me that just kind of needs a lot of like stimulation, this is awesome. And and everything moves, you know what I mean? And you click things, and it's just awesome. So I really like it. Everybody go get it. So I did this. So without it, it does. Right? But when I turn it on, it does a lot of work for you, which is always great. I'm not saying I'm lazy. I'm just saying, why wouldn't you want help? Right? Why wouldn't you want help within a plugin right here? So that is everything. That is how I made Just Can't Stop. Obviously, this is one of my first times doing this, so I'm really looking forward to the feedback. Maybe I talk too fast, maybe I'm too confusing, or maybe I should go over things slower. But I've always been wanting to do this, and I feel like I have a lot of songs that I've worked on that people would be really interested in. Be shocked by certain things I did in those songs, or, stuff like that. And I just think it's time for me to tell everybody and, tell everybody what I do and how I do it. And, I'm not getting paid by any of these guys. I don't have anything going on with, these guys who make the plugins or whatever. I just really like these. And, I just want to share that with you guys because, some people are like, I don't want to give them my sauce, man, blah, blah, blah. It's like, who cares? Like, I don't care. So, this is everything. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, I'm going to get this up as soon as possible. And, leave a bunch of comments. Hit me up wherever. I look at everything a lot. And just let me know what you think of it. And yeah, so I hope everybody has a good day, good week, a good rest of the year. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks.